Today we have something really cool in store. I'm going to show you how to create an HTML navigation bar inspired by Valorant home screen navigation. If you're a fan of Valorant like me, you'll love this. So this is the screen, which might look very similar to Valorant homepage, but this is the web page we will be creating today. So without further delay, let's get started. So I have the screenshot from my application, which I will use time by time in the video as a design file. As you can see on the left side, we have a Valorant logo, and on the right side, we have a gear icon for settings. Let's bring these icons into our project. You can Google these and get these files from the internet, or just find them in the repository, which I will link in the description of the video. Now let's create an anchor tag and set the class named Start Section. We will put our Valorant logo inside it. Let's give the logo a class named Valorant logo so that we can style the image later according to our needs. Now let's create our menu links. We will create a list, and inside that we will add some anchor tags with the menu items that we have in navigation. Remember that we have a play button that needs a different design than others. For that, we create a separate element and give it a class of play button, so that we can style it independently later. For the right side, we have a similar element like we did for Valorant logo. We change the image class to gear icon and anchor to end section, respectively. We also give our lists a class of middle section. Notice that we have divided our elements into three parts: start section, middle section, and end section. We will use these to define our HTML grid properties and align items in the document. Let's move to our styles file now. We start by setting the padding and margin to 0 on every element. Let's also put a background color to bit dark so that we don't die looking at the screen. We also set header width to take all of the viewport width. For the navigation element, we set the background color to transparent and set display to grid. We set the first grid column, which is the start section containing the Valorant logo, to take 1 fraction space, the middle section to take 3 fraction, and the end section to take 1 fraction again. Let's just provide a value for grid rows as well, and a grid gap of 1m. Notice that the elements are already a bit aligned on the preview. Now we horizontally align our start section to the start of the screen by using justify self, and vertically align it to the center by using align self. We do the same for center section and end section. Just the horizontal alignment would be center and end respectively. Let's size our Valorant logo now. The CSS doesn't seem to be working, and it's because I have accidentally used React naming and have used class names instead of class. Let's fix that. Looks fine now. Let's add a border to our logo and give a left margin and a padding of 6 pixels. As in the design, the logo is white. We will use filter property to invert the image completely. That includes also the borders. Let's add a hover effect to make it more interactive. We continue doing the same for center section. We set the display to flex, which makes our element appear horizontally now. To remove the list dots, we set list style to none. Now, let's change how the text appears on the screen. We set the color to white, add some padding, and transform the text to uppercase. Let's also add some hover effects. Looks good. I'm going to use a Google font named Roboto. You can use any font you want, which you feel matches the text that we have in game. Let's design our play button now. We start by making it a bit wider and setting a background color that matches our design. We also set the text color to black and align the text to center. Let's add some top padding and set a height to it. We add a border of 1 pixel and set it to the same color as the background. We do that because we are going to use the borders on the after and before pseudo elements to design our left and right corners of play button. Let's add a border to our before element. We need to make sure there is a content attribute present in the pseudo elements, otherwise the styles won't be visible. We set the position to absolute, and after playing a bit with the border, I came to this output with these border settings. I define a position using top and right attributes and also add a margin to align it properly. Let's change the color back to white and adapt the sizes a bit more. Cool, this looks very similar to our design. We do the same for before element. We just change the border left to border right and the position right to left. There we have it, the play button. Let's add some hover effects quickly. We change the cursor to pointer and background color to white. We will also have to add before and after hover effects. We set the border left and top to white for after element and border right and top to white for before element. Looks good. For the gear icon, we can use the same CSS as Valorant icon. Just change the margin left to margin right so that we have a bit of space on the right end as the element is present on the right. We also add a border radius of 50. Perfect. We see the play button style is a bit broken. To fix that, we can play around a bit with the position attribute left and right. There we have it now. It looks much better. There is a border at the bottom of the navigation in the design. Let's add that. To add that, we go to our header styles and add a border bottom of 1 pixel. Style to solid and color to white with 0.1 opacity. Looks perfect now. Let's also quickly add the area where Valorant points are displayed. To do that, we create a div, and inside that we create two anchor tags with an image embedded. We assign them a class and create a span element which will contain the number of points. Let's add some styles to it. We make the image a bit small, add some padding, border radius, and at the end we revert it to make it white. There we go. We have created something which looks very similar to Valorant in-game navigation. And that will be the end of this video. If you have any questions or want a video on a different component of any other game, let me know in the comments.